Good evening, all the centers. Yes, how are you, all of you? It's long since we have met, isn't it? So, when we were last time here, we were continuing with the 11th standard chapters, isn't it? We're continuing with the revision of some of the chapters from your 11th standard. So, what we will be doing today is that we will be starting your 12th standard syllabus with a chapter from zoology. Okay? Tell me, have you started your schools? Yes, centers. I can see Shillong. Yes, Shillong, good evening. So, did you start your school? Have you started your school? Tell me, what is going on in your school? Yes, Shillong? Tell me, what are they teaching in your school? Yes, Shillong? Yes, you started? So, what are they teaching? What are they teaching in your school? Obviously in biology. If it's a biology class, we will be talking about biology only. Yes, what are they teaching at your school? Okay, fine. So, what a coincidence. I will be starting the same chapter today. Okay, fine. So, that is the first chapter from my side in zoology, human reproduction. Okay, so what do you know about reproduction? Tell me. So, a basic categorization of reproduction can be done into two modes, isn't it? What are they? Asexual and sexual. We all are aware about it. Okay, asexual mode of reproduction means only one parent is required, there will be no gonads, there will be no formation of gametes, and obviously the newborn would be exact copy of the parent, isn't it? That we call it to be a clone. But what about if the reproduction is sexual? It would be biparental, that means the reproduction process would require two parents. It would be having gonads. Obviously, the sexually reproducing organisms, they need gonads for the production of gametes. And after gonads, the formation of gametes will take place in the gonads, and obviously the gametes will be formed by a process called as meiosis. And the meiosis is a process where we are having crossing over. Remember class 11th? Okay, so we have crossing over in the meiosis process, and there is obviously variation. So on one side, the asexual reproduction preserves the gene quality. Whatever the genetic composition is, the asexual reproduction tries to preserve it. Whereas on the other side, the sexual reproduction always needs to create a variation. That is the basis of the sexually reproducing organisms. What is that? They need to produce variations. Okay? Fine? Am I clear? So, if I talk about humans, what we think about humans is that they are unisexual, isn't it? They are, what is viviparous? Yes, tell me, centers. What is viviparous? Tell me please. Yes. What is viviparous? And obviously, after all those things, they are sexually reproducing. Okay? So, what is viviparous? Yes. I can see one more center logged in. Who is it? Yes, Shillong, tell me, what do you mean by viviparous? Yes. Please type it. What is viviparous? Yes. So, how are you, St. Paul's? Since long we have met, isn't it? Okay. Yes? Shillong? St. Paul's? What is viviparous? St. Paul's? Are you connected? Please answer, what is viviparous? Yes? That means giving birth to, very good. It means giving birth to young ones. And what are birds? What are birds? Tell me. What are birds? Yes, St. Paul's? What are birds? What are reptiles? Tell me. Yes, good evening, Senapati. How are you? Since long we have met. How are your school going? So enjoying class 12th. How is your class 12th going on? Yes, very good. So reptiles are oviparous in their nature. Okay? So if I try to classify the reproductive events, what I would be doing is that I would be classifying the reproductive events in the life cycle of a human. Obviously, all the reproductive events, they start at puberty. So how many of us know what does puberty means? Yes, centers? How many of us are aware of this term? Okay, very nice. So how many of us are aware about this term, puberty? How many of us have heard it first time? How many of us have already encountered this term, and how many of us are well aware about it? Tell me, what is puberty? The reproductive events start at puberty. What is puberty? The name itself suggests everything. Puberty is a certain age time when the gonads, they start functioning. For example, in the case of males, it is 12 to how much? 12 to 14 years. Whereas in case of girls, it is 11 to 13 years. Okay, so start at puberty. What is puberty? The age at which reproductive system starts functioning. Okay, fine. So what I will be doing is that I will be classifying the reproductive events, the first to be gametogenesis. So what is gametogenesis? The formation of gametes. So once the gametes are formed, they need to be transferred. So it would be transfer of gametes. Once they are transferred, the process to follow would be fusion of gametes, isn't it? The gametes, they would fuse. Once they fuse, they form a structure called as zygote. And the next event follows the development of the zygote, isn't it? The development of the zygote. So the zygote starts to develop. Am I clear up to this? Yes, all the centers? Yes, Senapati, Shillong, St. Paul's. Am I clear? Tell me yes or no, anything. You're busy in copying. Okay, in the meantime, you can just tell me yes, no. Yes, please. Okay. I can see one more center logged in. Yes, very good. Nice. So are you enjoying your classes? Yes. Tell me. Are you enjoying your classes? Yes. Yes. Itanagar is also logged in. Tell me, are you enjoying your classes? Yes, Senapati, St. Paul's, Shillong. How are you finding your class 12th? Is it easier than class 11th? Okay, you are enjoying. So, do you find it to be easy? Yes. You copied Shillong? So, do you find it to be easy compared to the last class? Obviously, your class 11th. Is it easy or difficult? Fine. So, did we copy this? All the centers? Did we copy this? Those centers who have just logged in, I was talking about your third chapter of NCERT, that is human reproduction. Once for them. So we have actually certain specifications about the humans, that they are unisexual, they are viviparous, that is give birth to young ones, they are sexually reproducing, and the reproductive events start at a certain phase of their lifetime that we call to be what? That we call to be puberty. Okay, so what is puberty? It's an age at which the reproductive systems start to function. Then the reproductive events would be divided into further classes, like the first would be gametogenesis. Okay, just let me consult once. Voice quality, about voice quality. Okay. Comment high school. Is it okay now? Yes? So we have gametogenesis, we have transfer of gametes, we have fusion of gametes, and when the gametes fuse, what they form? They form the zygote. Yes, tell me, is the voice now audible? Centers? Please tell me, is the voice audible? Am I audible clearly? Let me know, please. All the centers? It's clear now. Okay, fine. All these rest of the centers? Is the voice clear? Okay, fine. So we were talking about certain events, that is formation of zygote, and then the zygote starts to develop. Okay, all those centers who have just logged in, this is just what we have done till now. Now the development of the zygote will take place in another elaborated event, that is, first of all, what is going to happen? First of all, the morula formation will take place. Okay, we just need to know about these terms now. I would be explaining them when they are actually coming in the chapter. Just know about these terms. The morula then turns into a blastula. What does blastula does? Blastula attaches to the uterine wall. Uterine wall means the wall of the uterus, the mother's uterus. And this is what is called as implantation. So once the implantation is done, there starts the next phase, that is said to be the embryonic development. Now the embryo term would be used. So the embryonic development is going to take place. Okay, am I audible now? All the centers, am I audible clearly? Yes, Senapati, tell me. Am I audible now? Yes, centers, is my voice clear? So the embryonic development will take place during a period called as gestation, isn't it? The gestation in case of humans is of 9 months. We all know, 40 to 41 weeks. Okay? And after gestation, there would be delivery. And this delivery process is called as what? It's called as parturition. So this is the whole event that is actually going to come across this chapter. This chapter is going to deal with these all events. So it's first gametogenesis, then transfer of gametes. The gametes then fuse to form zygote, development of zygote, and then we have the zygote developing into morula, which attaches to the wall and now is called as blastula. The blastula develops and the embryo now is said to be undergoing gestation period, and after the gestation period is over, the embryo actually is delivered by a process called as parturition. Okay? Is the voice quality okay? Yes, centers? Okay. Am I clear up to now, up to here? All these centers. Am I clear up to here? Can I start with male reproductive system? Am I clear up till this? Okay. Yes, Senapati, Shillong, St. Paul. Yes, am I clear up till this now? Can we move ahead? Can we move ahead with the male reproductive system? All these centers, have you copied up till here? Have you copied up till here, centers? Okay, I am moving ahead. Shall I? Do you have any doubt up till now? Tell me if you want to ask a question. See, I have just given you the outline of chapter. Now we will be actually starting the chapter. Now I will be teaching you one by one the male reproductive system, the female reproductive system, and then the process of gamete formation, then how does the gamete transfer takes place. We have just started the chapter. We'll be doing it gradually and gradually. It's a big chapter. Okay, I'm moving ahead. Fine. So, the next thing we need to know about is, we need to know about the male and female reproductive systems. So I would be starting with the male reproductive system. So first of all, the location. Now who is going to tell me about the location of the male reproductive system? Tell me. Where is the location of the male reproductive system? Yes. Tell me please. It's in our pelvic region. The region of the pelvic girdle, that is in the pelvic region. So what are the components? The components are a pair of testes, the accessory ducts, glands, and external genitalia. These are the components of the male reproductive system. Now this accessory duct is also having a list of things, like what we have is retetestis, we have vasa efferentia, we have epididymis, and finally we have is vas deferens. Okay, so these are the components. Now when we talk about glands, we have 3 glands. The first is seminal vesicles, then we have is prostrate gland, just let me finish this. We have prostrate gland and we have is bulbourethral or Copper's gland. So these are the types of glands and these are the types of accessory ducts. So what are they? Let's see once again. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region. It has a pair of testes. It has accessory ducts. It has glands and external genitalia. The accessory ducts, they have retetestis, vasa efferentia, epididymis and vas deferens. And the glands, they are again of three types, that is seminal vesicle, prostrate gland, and bulbourethral gland or Cowper's gland. Okay? This is the basic composition of the male reproductive system. Yes, Senapati, I'll just show you the last page. Centers, please cooperate. Fine. Wish to copy, please copy it. All the centers. This page, Senapati, you're talking about? So how is the weather over there? Yes, centers? How is weather at your place? It's very hot in Delhi. Seriously. How is the weather at your place? Tell me. It's nice, it's humid, hot, cold, what is it? Nice. I was expecting. It must be pleasant over there. It's raining, wow. Very nice. Fine. It's scorching heat over here. Trust me, it's very, very, very high temperature. It's only April and it's so hot, we cannot expect what is going to happen in May and June. Okay, fine. Yes, Shillong. Okay, finished? Thank you. Proceeding ahead. So, male reproductive system is located back to the male reproductive system construction, that it has testes, a pair of testes, obviously. If it is plural, I will be writing TES, TES. Okay? And if it is a single, I would be writing TES, TIS. Okay? Then it has accessory ducts, it has glands, it has external genitalia. All these constitute the male reproductive system. And the testes are what? The testes, they happen to be the primary sex organ. You have studied that in last chapter. These are the primary sex organs. Okay? Now, let us move, let us write something more, learn something more about testes, which is going to be the primary sex organ. Copy it, last page. So, testes is located outside the abdominal cavity. It is located outside the abdominal cavity. Why? Any idea why it is located outside the abdominal cavity? Any idea? Yes, centers? You started with human reproduction. Some of the centers were telling me they have started with human reproduction in their schools. So, any idea why it is located outside the abdominal cavity? Yes? In a pouch called as scrotum. What is the idea behind this? Yes? Tell me. See, what the scrotum does is that scrotum actually maintains a lower temperature. The basic function is exactly to maintain a lower temperature, maintains a lower temperature of 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius than the body temperature. And why is this required? For the maturation of sperms. So if you try to provide a higher temperature, or you have a 37 degrees Celsius of normal body temperature, if you are getting that temperature, it's basically impossible for the process of spermatogenesis or for the process of maturation of the sperms. So for this process to be feasible, for this thing to be feasible, what the nature has designed in a way is that it has placed testes in a separate pouch-like structure which is called as scrotum. And what does scrotum do? The scrotum is actually responsible for maintaining a lower temperature of 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius than the body temperature. Okay, am I clear up to this? Yes, centers, tell me. So when you hear next time the process of maturation of these sperms, we will call it to be spermatogenesis. This whole process would be now called as, from now, we will be using a process that is formation, maturation, everything under the term called as spermatogenesis. So what is spermatogenesis? Spermatogenesis is the development and maturation of the sperms. Okay? Now, moving ahead. Yes, centers, did you copy up to this? Okay. Now further, when I go ahead, testes is actually covered by a dense tissue. Dense means a thick tissue. And we will name this tissue. You don't have this name in your NCERT, but I would be mentioning it. Obviously, it's called as tunica albuginea. So what is tunica albuginea? Tunica albuginea is a thick, dense covering over the testes. So it's covered by thick, dense tissue called tunica albuginea. Shall I move ahead the diagram of the testes? Have you copied this? Centers? Have you copied this? Yes? Yes, Shillong, did you copy this? Itanagar, St. Paul's, Naharlagun, have you copied this? All the centers? Okay. Shall I move ahead? Fine. So, the testis somehow looks like this. It has a covering that I taught you just now. What is the covering called? The covering is called as tunica albuginea. We're redrawing the whole diagram. Inside the testes, we have many testicular lobules. See, testicular lobules are what? They are different isolated structures that are actually present in the testes. So we have many testicular lobules, and these testicular lobules, they have highly coiled structures called as seminiferous tubules. So this is the tunica albuginea that I was talking about. These are the testicular lobules. So in a single testis, we are having round about 200 to 250 testicular lobules, a huge number. And each of the testicular lobule has what? It has seminiferous tubule. What are seminiferous tubules? They are highly coiled structure. How many in number? It varies from 1 to 3 in number. Okay? Specify the part, Itanagar. Specify the part. Now, what happens is the seminiferous tubule, they come at one point and they form a networking. This is what is a networking. And this networking actually gives rise to the next part where it is supposed to make an exit from the scrotum. Up till now, all the things are in scrotum. Okay? Now this is the next part which actually starts to make an exit from the scrotum, and this structure moves ahead. This particular part is called as rete testis. Remember? We mentioned it under the accessory ducts. This is the part called as vasa efferentia. And this is the part which is called as epididymis. Now, out of these, the epididymis is thought to have the most important function as to store the spermatozoa. Or we can say the storage of sperm is the function of epididymis. This is again important. Now, the epididymis starts to give rise to vas deferens, and this vas deferens starts to ascend out of the scrotum into the abdomen of the male. So this is somehow the structure of the testes looks like. Fine. Once again, the testis is covered by a thick, dense tissue, fibrous tissue called as tunica albuginea. There are 200 to 250 testicular lobules present inside each testis. Then each of the testes has 200 to 250 testicular lobules. Each testicular lobule has 1, 2, 3 seminiferous tubules which are highly coiled in structure. Then the seminiferous tubules, they make an exit from the testicular lobule and form a network at one point. This is the networking at one point called as rete testis. This rete testis connects to the vasa efferentia and then to the epididymis. Epididymis is thought to be the storage part where the sperms are stored, and finally the epididymis makes an exit into the abdomen through a tube-like structure called as vas deferens. So this is the basic structure, how a testis looks like, how is the male reproductive system appears to be. Yes, centers. Any doubt? Itanagar, please mention me that part you are asking me. So outside scrotum means where? Where do you want to know? What is the part you want to know? Outside scrotum is any part. We can talk about vas deferens. We can talk about any part. So what part? Specify the part. Okay? So let us look at an image from your NCERT. So this is the diagram from your NCERT book. This is how the male reproductive system somehow looks like. Okay. Sorry. Fine. Can you see this diagram? Okay. Let's see. So this is what I was talking about. This region is the scrotum part, which is the pouch-like structure, isn't it? Outside the abdomen. Now this has is what? This has the primary sex organ called as testes. Can you see this? All the centers? Then the whole thing from the testes starts to move out. Can you see vas deferens? You can see vas deferens here. See, The tube-like structure, it makes an exit. It's making an exit. It makes a loop around the urinary bladder. This is your urinary bladder, this structure. This whole structure is your urinary bladder. This whole thing is your urinary bladder. So this makes a whole loop around the urinary bladder. And then what it does is that it opens into a common duct called as ejaculatory duct, where we have an opening for the gland called as seminal vesicle. Can you see this part? Can you see this thing? This is what is the vas deferens. The vas deferens is also opening, having an opening of seminal vesicle. So it's vas deferens plus the opening of seminal vesicle, giving a new term, what you call is to be ejaculatory duct. Now this ejaculatory duct moves ahead and connects with the urethra, isn't it? It connects with the particular structure coming down from the urinary bladder. And now it has secretions from prostate. So this was my first gland I was talking about. This is my second gland, and you have a small paired structure called as bulbourethral gland, which is the third structure on the run. So I have three glands, three accessory glands. The first is the seminal vesicle, the duct from the vas deferens and seminal vesicle, the vas deferens and seminal vesicle, they come together to form the ejaculatory duct. This is what is this thing. The ejaculatory duct moves ahead and joins the gland from secretions from the prostate gland, and finally the bulbourethral gland, otherwise also called as Cowper's gland, also join the structure. And finally what happens is this moves ahead the urethra and enters into the penis, and after entering it makes an exit to outer part of the body, the basic structure through glans penis and foreskin. So penis, glans penis and foreskin, they happen to be the external genitalia parts. Okay, I'm just marking it once more. The penis structure with a square box, glans penis and the foreskin. These all parts are the external genitalia parts. Am I clear? So urethra makes an exit out of the body in such a way. Am I clear? Fine? All the centers? Any question? Can we draw this diagram on our own? Do you wish to draw this diagram on your own, or this is okay? Shall I draw it for you? Or this is okay? If it comes in exam, would you be able to solve this? Draw this? Tell me. Tell me frankly, otherwise I will redraw it. Okay, I'm clear? Can I move ahead? So we have marked 3 accessory glands. Now, I have marked the parts of the external genitalia. So what is ejaculatory duct? How do you define ejaculatory duct? Tell me. Ejaculatory duct equals to the opening of vas deferens plus Seminal vesicle. And what is seminal vesicle? Seminal vesicle is one of the accessory glands. What are the rest accessory glands you have? The rest of accessory glands are what? Prostrate gland and bulbourethral glands or Cowper's glands. Done? Shall I move ahead? All the centers? Yes, Shillong, Senapati, Naharlagan, Itanagar. Tell me. Are we done? Shall we move? Shillong, done with copying? Yes, Shillong? Okay, fine. I'm moving. Okay. Let's have a look to this system. Now, this was what vast difference I was supposed to tell you, isn't it? So, this vast difference actually, what happens is, this vast difference actually ascends into the abdomen. This was the testis part. It's a part of testis. And this starts to ascend in the abdomen. This is what it must be like. And makes a round around the structure called as urinary bladder. Now, when it ascends down, it has an opening from a duct called as seminal vesicle. And further, what happens is they join the ducts from the prostrate gland and the bulbourethral gland, and on their way back, what happens is they come down and they start to make an exit from the body to the structure called as penis. This was what it is supposed to. So this is the urethra part. We did draw this. This was the vast difference. It's a bit shaky. So, this is what? This is the seminal vesicle. This is the prostrate. This is the bulbourethral gland. And this structure is called as ejaculatory duct. And this is the structure called as urethra. This is penis. This was scrotum. Okay? And this was what? This was the urinary bladder. Fine? So this was the typical structure that we just now looked into. Very much clear? So this is the section of the male reproductive system. Fine? So now let us concentrate back to the structure that I told you, seminiferous tubule. Now, my whole story is going to revolve around the seminiferous tubule because this is a structure which is actually responsible for the formation of the sperms. Let us have a look at it. So, the seminiferous tubule how they do look? The site of sperm formation. Did you copy the last diagram? Just let me know if you have missed out something. The site of spermatogenesis. Okay. Please copy. Let me know when you are done with copying. Okay. Fine. Did we copy? Centers? Okay. Fine. All the centers? Yes, Shillong, Itanagar, Senapati. Itanagar has done with copying. Okay. St. Paul's? St. Paul's, you seem to be connected, but why are you not responding? What happened? Are you connected? Yes, St. Paul? Okay, fine. I'm moving ahead. So, the seminiferous tubule is what? The seminiferous tubule happens to be the site of spermatogenesis. So, just now we had in close description about seminiferous tubule that I told you that it has actually, okay, St. Paul, you're responding, you're not responding. Okay, so it has actually 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules in each of the testicular lobules. So each testicular lobule has 1 to 3. That means it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3. It can be any of these numbers. So it can be, they are actually highly coiled structures which actually are the site of spermatogenesis. Remember what was spermatogenesis? Formation plus maturation of the sperms. So the seminiferous tubule is actually somehow round in structure like this. Since I told you it is 1, 2, 3 in number, I am drawing over here 3 of the seminiferous tubules. So they are now having 2 types of cells. Can you see the diagram? Can you see 2 types of cells? The one of which actually appears to be cone shaped or pyramid shaped. Okay? So this particular epithelium is called as cuboidal epithelium, obviously which appears to be cuboid-like. And then we have is the second kind of epithelium which is called to be Sertoli cells. So we have 2 types of cells. Number 1 we have is cuboidal epithelium and number 2 we have is Sertoli cells. Both of which have a different function. Now cuboidal epithelium actually is responsible for sperm formation. That is, all the spermatozoa or all these sperms are actually formed from, okay, fine. So anybody can replace them, isn't it, St. Paul's? Anybody among you can replace her? Okay, so cuboidal epithelium is the particular part which is responsible for formation of the sperm, and Sertoli cell is the particular part which is taking part in nourishment of the sperm. What does it do? It performs so can we say it to be nurse cell? Yes, we can say it to be nurse cells also. So the nurse cells, what they do is that they actually nourish the developing sperms. And what does cuboidal epithelium does? The cuboidal epithelium actually participates in the sperm formation. Now we have certain cells over here also in the center. Can you see this? Yes, you can. This is what is called as the Leydig cells. Or since it is present in the between part or the interstitium part, we can also call it to be the interstitial cells. Okay? Fine? Tell me if this is clear. I will be moving ahead. So I have two types of cells in the seminiferous tubules. What are they? The seminiferous tubule is present at what center? First answer me this question. The seminiferous tubule can be found at what typical point? Yes. What's a typical word you would be using? Typical site of seminiferous tubules. What is it? I've taught you. Tell me. Just now I've taught you. What is a particular point at which you are going to find the seminiferous tubules? Yes? Shillong? St. Paul's? Naharlagun? Itanagar? Senapati? Tell me. Very nice. And how many testicular lobules do you have? Or one testis has? Remember, this is a structure. I have taught you this thing. You cannot forget it. See? Testicular lobules. Each testicular lobule has what? It has 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. And how many testicular lobules in one testis? It is 200 to 250. Clear? Okay. I'm moving ahead. So, this Leydig cells or interstitial cells, what is the function? Okay, did we study a hormone called as GnRH in the last year? Did we study that hormone, GnRH? Gonadotrophin releasing hormone. Tell me, am I audible? All the centers. Can you hear me properly now? So, seminiferous tubules are what? They are the site of spermatogenesis. They have two kinds of cells, cuboidal epithelium and Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells, they are responsible for nourishing the sperms, which actually are formed from the cuboidal epithelium. So how many of us remember? Tell me. What happens is that there is a part called as hypothalamus. Okay? This is a typical part in your system, in your This is from chapter Chemical Control and Coordination, called as hypothalamus. This hypothalamus releases a hormone called as, I'll be writing in red, called as GnRH. Okay? And what does this GnRH do? This GnRH actually acts on the anterior pituitary. You should have read this in the last class, but no problem. This acts on the anterior pituitary and releases two hormones. What are they? First is FSH and second is LH or ICSH. Actually, ICSH is the male counterpart of LH. We will use the term LH for females and use the term ICSH for males. Okay? Up to here it is clear? So hypothalamus is going to release a hormone called as GnRH. This GnRH is going to act on anterior pituitary, which makes it to release two hormones, FSH, that is follicle stimulating hormone, and LH, that is luteinizing hormone. This is called ICSH, that is interstitial cell stimulating hormone in case of males. Now, next, what is going to happen? This ICSH is going to act on interstitial cells, as the name suggests. That is interstitial cell stimulating hormone. So what is it going to do? It is going to stimulate the interstitial cell. See, we have named this interstitial cell. And as it stimulates the interstitial cells is going to release the male sex hormone, that is testosterone. Have you heard about testosterone earlier? You must have. This is going to release the male sex hormone, testosterone. Fine? Now what is going to happen next? This testosterone will be responsible for two things. Have you copied up to this? Tell me. So the whole story once again, what we have done is that we have actually taken seminiferous tubules to be the site of spermatogenesis. Seminiferous tubule has two types of cells. The first cuboidal, which gives rise to the sperm or the spermatozoon, and second we have is Sertoli cells or the nurse cells. What they do is that they nourish the developing sperms. Okay, they provide nursing. Next, what happens is, I will be talking about hypothalamus, because after puberty this is going to happen. So once the puberty is achieved, the hypothalamus will always be releasing GnRH. This GnRH is going to act on anterior pituitary, and anterior pituitary is going to release what? FSH and LH. The male counterpart for LH is ICSH, that is interstitial cell stimulating hormone. Now this interstitial cell stimulating hormone, the one in the pink, is going to act on the interstitial cell, as the name suggests. This interstitial cell will now produce the male sex hormone called as testosterone. Now we have seen two functions. We have seen number one, what? We have seen the function number one, that is the sperm formation, and function number two, that is testosterone release. Yes, centers. Am I clear? Fine. Now the next part of the story. Up till here, all the things are clear? Tell me, centers. Yes, please. Tell me. Okay, very nice. Yes, Aizwal. Good evening. How are you? Okay. So now what is going to happen? What will be happening? We're done up to here? Copy it. Very nice. But this testosterone is going to produce the next effects in the male system. What effects? The first and foremost thing, it is going to enter in the seminiferous tubules, and do what? Is going to undergo the process of spermatogenesis. That is, I told you, sperm formation. Okay? And the next thing what is going to do is that it is going to start the male secondary sexual characters. Isn't it? We all know what are male secondary sexual characters, like appearance of mustache, beard on the face, having a muscular kind of body, isn't it? Having Adam's apple in the larynx. All these are what? All these are the male secondary sexual characters. That is, you can now physically easily distinguish between a male and a female, isn't it? The typical appearance of the male secondary sexual characters is brought about by testosterone. Done? So what is going to do is that it enters in the seminiferous tubule. See, seminiferous tubule has so much to do in the system. And what is going to do is that bring about the process of spermatogenesis. Okay. All the centers, am I clear? Fine. So now this seminiferous tubule is going to do what? I have taught you the diagram also. Let's write some text matter that is important for your boards. So these seminiferous tubules, what they do is that they open into, we have done this. Just let me know if we have any problem. Opens into retitestis, which again opens into vasa efferentia. Yes, vasa efferentia is the connection between the testes and the epididymis. Okay? Nothing as special. So vasa efferentia now leaves the testes. Remember I told you it's singular, so I will be writing IS. If it's plural, I will be writing ES. So leaves the testis, Now we have is next part. Did we copy this? Epididymis. From the epididymis, what happens is the next part initiates. This is located on the posterior surface of each testis. Remember the diagram? We have done this thing. Just refer the diagram. Posterior surface of each testis, and this again leads to what? This is going to lead to vas deferens. So this kind of flowchart is important for your boards. Okay? So leads to vas deferens. This vas deferens starts to go in the abdomen, isn't it? It starts to go into, ascend in the abdomen. And then what? It loops around the urinary bladder. And then what? It receives a duct from seminal vesicle. Now what is it called? Tell me what it is called now. It is now called as ejaculatory duct. Fine? Now this ejaculatory duct, what happens with it? This ejaculatory duct, this receives a number of things. What are they? First and foremost, urethra, and after this, the next thing is the prostate gland. Then we have is bulbourethral gland. And after that, there is urethra, extends, and finally we have is urethral meatus, that is the external opening. What is the external opening called? It is called as urethral meatus. MEATUS. So this is the pathway of the sperm which is going to follow in the formation process. Once it's formed, this is the whole process it is going to follow. Am I clear? Did we miss out something? Tell me. You write in a flowchart form. I was not having that much of space. I would have used another slide, but you are copying, so you can use a fresh page. When you are doing the flowchart, don't make it messy. Just use a fresh page. This is important from your board, for your boards. Yes, receives urethra means it's actually there's a structure I'm talking about. See. Just a second, centers. I'm talking about this particular part. See, can you see this part? Shillong? Can you see this part? This is what is receives urethra. Okay? This is the particular part. So vas deferens, seminal vesicle, all the things they come and connect at this particular point. I'm calling this point to be the receiving urethra part. Okay? Okay. So meatus is actually an opening. Okay? An opening which is extending outwards. Okay? So ejaculatory duct has an opening of urethra. I would be modifying it as an opening of urethra as well. Okay? Clear? This is important for your boards. Done? Please proceed fast. We have done all these things. We just need to have an outline of the structure. You have done this thing in the diagram part. So this is the text part, important for your boards. Okay. Shillong, Senapati, St. Paul's, Naharlagun, Itanagar. Are the things clear? Are the things clear? Tell me. Okay. I'm proceeding. Okay. So this was about the whole process. Now once we are done with this thing, the next thing is the external genitalia part, isn't it? I just wrote over there also in the diagram, but in boards we need to write answers, isn't it? So male external genitalia consists of penis, which is made up of special types of tissue. Special in what terms? Special in terms that it is basically, number one, erectile to facilitate insemination. Insemination in the female reproductive system. And then what we have else is that, what we can have about it, that the enlarged end of, we've done this in diagram, is called as glans penis, which is covered by fold of skin called as foreskin. We've done this all in your diagram. Just let us have a quick view of the diagram. We did it. Where did we do this? This was the particular structure I was talking about. See, this is the typical structure. What I was talking about, this was the structure. This is penis. The next part, that is enlarged end, and enlarged end is covered by foreskin. So this is the external genitalia. This is external genitalia. Okay? Insemination is the process of introducing the secretions of the male sex glands along with the sperms into the female reproductive system. Okay? Fine? Done with this? Clear? Must be. Okay, coming back. Next is this part. This was the male external genitalia. See, these things are important for boards. Okay? Need to have a quick view on these things. Next. We need to have the male accessory glands. So what are the male accessory glands? Yes, tell me. I've just now taught you. What are the male accessory glands? Yes, centers, tell me. Just now I've taught you. I guess 2-3 times I repeated this. I want answers from each centers. In the meantime, tell me. Okay, one answer I've got. Yes, tell me all there. I have taught you 3 male accessory glands. I want all the names. Okay, very nice. Did you copy this? All the centers? Very nice. And my next question is, which of these is not paired? Okay, very nice. Centers, keep on answering. I want answers from each centers. I'm not repeating it. I've taught you this. Yes, centers. Copied? All of you? I'm moving ahead. Okay, so male accessory glands. I've got many answers and very nice. So the first is what? The first is seminal vesicles. Yes, my question was, which of these is not paired? And then what we have is prostate and bulbourethral glands, which is not paired. See, I have put S over here, I have put S over here, but if I'm writing prostate gland, I'm not putting S over here, it's very clear. So, rest all are paired, but prostate gland is a single large gland. A single large gland. And when we take into account the secretions of all these glands, okay, we are taking into account the secretions of these glands. What is it going? It is going to form is seminal plasma. Okay? What is seminal plasma? Seminal plasma is a particular fluid rich in, number 1, fructose, number 2, calcium ions, number 3, certain enzymes. So what is seminal plasma? It is rich in fructose, calcium ions and certain enzymes. The secretions of bulbourethral gland only, I'm talking about only bulbourethral gland. The secretions of this particular gland, let us mention once again. Helps in lubrication of the penis. So these are the typical structures of the male accessory glands, and this is the way how they are going to help in the process of the reproduction. Okay, so we have seminal plasma. So it is somehow, when you are having secretions of these glands, this thing, when you add with the sperms, this gives you a product called as semen. So if a question comes to you, what is semen? Semen is actually the secretions of all the 3 accessory glands along with the sperms. It is called as semen. Fine? Are we clear up to this? Tell me. All the centers? Let me know if you have any doubt, any confusion, any doubt, any question. Please ask. Fine? Can I move ahead? Okay. I'm moving ahead. Shall I? All the centers. Okay. So this is again one more diagram from your book. This is again showing the typical structure where the vast difference from either of the testes makes a loop around the urinary bladder, opens in seminal vesicle called ejaculatory duct, has openings of prostate gland, bulbourethral gland. The bulbourethral gland moves ahead. Can you see this? The bulbourethral gland moves ahead and meets urethra. Urethra opens into the penis. where we have the enlarged end called as glans penis and covering around it foreskin. So this is the epididymis, the part where the storage of the sperm takes place. So this is an elaborated structure that from your NCERT book that shows, I have already drawn this, you need not draw this again. Okay, don't draw this again please. This is very, very easy. We have done this. We have done this in parts. We are all now clear about all these things. We know this term, testicular lobule, we know retitestis, we know all of these terms, vasa efferentia, we know all of these terms now. Okay. Done? So this was just okay. So can we answer these questions now? Yes, centers. We have read much about, in fact, we have read all the things from the male reproductive system. Start answering now. The questions from the male reproductive system. Yes, centers. We have done the male reproductive system part. I'll be starting female reproductive system in a short time. In the meantime, answer these questions. Answer the number only. Don't type so much St. Paul's. Just mark the option. It's either A, B, C, D. What's the option? Just mark the option. Okay. Done? I did not get the answer from many centers. I've not got, yes? Okay. Now, it's very much easy. Just now we have read that Leydig cells or the interstitial cells are present in between the seminiferous tubules in testes, isn't it? So in between the seminiferous tubules, there are the particular structures called as Leydig cells which produce the hormone testosterone. Okay, so C option is correct. Very good. Okay, we did not do this. Okay, answer me this question. About 60% of semen is formed from the secretions of which gland? 60% of semen is formed from the secretions of which gland? See, seminiferous tubule does not, I will give you a hint, seminiferous tubule is not secreting anything, only sperms. Okay, fine. Yes? Centers? Try. Please try. Very nice. Try, keep on trying. See, the majority of the part of the secretions are coming, yes, I have got many right answers, very good, is coming from the seminal vesicle. Okay, the seminal vesicle is the most active part among the male accessory glands, which secretes 60% of the particular fluid called as seminal plasma. The fluid itself is named as seminal plasma, isn't it? So it must be originating maximally from the seminal vesicles. Am I clear? Next, this question. Answer this. So if the name is seminal vesicle, that itself is very much clear. Maximum fluid is coming from seminal vesicle. Okay. I've taught you this. Did I? Have I taught you this? Okay. All the centers. Have I taught you this? Okay, very nice, very good. Keep it up. So it's tunica albuginea. Very nice. All the centers. Okay, this question. Okay, we'll be doing these questions also, but this is not for us now. Okay, fine, very nice. All the centers, very nice, very good. So, let us now have a look at the female reproductive system. The male part is over now, and we'll be having a look at the female reproductive system. Do we have any doubts? We don't seem to have any doubt from the male reproductive system part. Do we have any doubts? Tell me. don't seem to be. Okay. Let us have a quick look at the female reproductive system. This is somehow the female reproductive system looks like. This is a typical diagram of the female reproductive system. So, let us see one by one what are the parts of the female reproductive system. First and foremost, the whole system is, as in the case of the males, this system also has a similar kind of parts. The first and foremost thing is the ovary. Ovary, which happens to be the primary sex organ in case of females. So what is ovary? Ovary is the primary sex organ. Then we have is accessory ducts. The first one is the fallopian tube, the only one in fact. Then we have is uterus. Okay, this particular structure is called as, this whole structure is called as uterus. Uterus is having cavity called as uterine cavity. The topmost part is called as uterine fundus. And then what we have is, we have the layers of the uterus. What we have is layers of the uterus. Okay? Okay, I will do that. The perimetrium happens to be the outermost part. The myometrium is the middle part. And the endometrium is the innermost part of the uterus. Okay, let's see once again. The outermost part is perimetrium. The middle part is myometrium. And the innermost part is endometrium. Okay? So we have three parts in the uterus. The layers are divided into three. Now, as the uterus starts to get narrow, it has a structure called as cervix. The cervix opens into cervical canal. This is also called as the birth canal. You can draw this diagram. And then it opens into the outermost part, that is vagina. This is the outermost opening of the female reproductive system. Now let's see this fallopian tube. This fallopian tube is also called as oviduct. Okay, this is called as oviduct. The function of oviduct is to transport the ovum produced from the ovary to the uterus. So it's just a channel, it's just a duct which is transferring the things from this particular point to, from the ovary, it is going to carry the things from ovary into the uterus. So the first part of the fallopian tube happens to be infundibulum. Second part is ampulla and third part is isthmus. You can see over here ampulla is the widest part. You can see in the diagram also. Ampulla happens to be the widest part of the fallopian tube. So infundibulum has what? Infundibulum has finger-like structures called as fimbriae. So what has infundibulum? Infundibulum has finger-like structures called as fimbriae. What is fimbriae doing? Fimbriae actually receives the ovum from the ovary. So whenever the ovum is released from the ovary, fimbriae is going to receive it and then pass it on to ampulla, isthmus, and finally it rolls to come in the uterus. It's a pathway of the ovum. Did you copy this? Yes, centers? Okay. Fine. Shall we move ahead? Tell me. Yes, Shillong, Senapati, St. Paul's, Iswal, Itanagar. Did you copy this? All the centers. Did we copy? Okay, shall I proceed? I'm proceeding ahead. Okay? So, similar to male reproductive system, the female reproductive system is also located in the pelvic region. This is located in the pelvic region. Okay? What does it consists of? Let us see. It consists of number 1, ovaries, number 2, oviducts, number 3, uterus, number 4, cervix, number 5, vagina, and number 6, the external genitalia. Okay? So this whole structure is actually supported by mammary glands also. Because humans are mammals, isn't it? So mammary glands do play a very important role in this. So the whole purpose of the female reproductive system is to serve what functions? The functions are, first of all, what is it? It is ovulation. Then the fertilization is internal in case of humans. So fertilization, after fertilization there is pregnancy, and after pregnancy there is birth and child care. So all these things need to be supported by the female reproductive system. Okay? Now out of these, let us look upon the functions of each one of them. So starting with ovaries. So what are ovaries doing? The ovaries are the primary sex organs. And what they do is that they produce gametes. The gametes called as ovum. Singular ovum, plural ova. Okay? Along with gametes, they also produce steroid hormones. Okay, the testosterone was also a steroid hormone. So the steroid hormones namely are estrogen and progesterone. There are two steroid hormones. Number 1 is estrogen and number 2 is progesterone. Okay? Now, the ovaries are actually, we have drawn the diagram, isn't it? We know now. They are connected by ligaments to the wall of abdomen. So they need to be located in such a way that the ligaments, they are holding them to the wall of abdomen. Next, what we have is, it is covered by thin epithelium. And encloses ovarian stroma. See, stroma is anything which is present inside. Okay, so if I am capturing anything inside a thin epithelium, obviously this thin epithelium is nothing but this is germinal epithelium. You can just mention it for higher exams. This thin epithelium is nothing, this is germinal epithelium, which is actually enclosing the liquid part or the inside part called as ovarian stroma. So ovary can be divided into two parts. As I always suggest in biology, we have two parts. The periphery, obviously the outermost part, periphery which is called as the cortex, and the inner, which is called as the medulla. So we have two parts in the ovary, that is the cortex part on the outer part, outermost side. So if I am drawing the ovary over here, this whole part, let us take a different colored pen. So I am talking about this whole part. This blue part is actually the part of the cortex. Can you see this? This is the part of the cortex. And if I am taking a different color, let me see this thing. This would be the center part, and this is called as the medulla. So this is the stroma part. So it's very much clear we have different types of enclosures present in the ovary. The outermost part is called as the cortex. The inner part is called as the medulla. Am I clear up till now? So these are the parts of the ovary. Clear? One and all? Yes, centers. Sorted? All the centers. Shillong, Aizawl, Itanagar, St. Paul's, Naharlagun, Senapati. Sorted? Things are clear up till now? Fine. All the centers? I'm moving ahead. Now, when I'm moving, we move to oviducts, which are also called as the fallopian tubes. So, what I said about fallopian tubes earlier also, we have three parts in the fallopian tube. What are they? They are the first and foremost, fallopian tube happens to be somewhat 10 to 12 centimeter long tube. Okay? So this fallopian tube, when you have uterus along with it and vagina along with it, this whole structure is actually called as, this whole structure would be actually called as female accessory ducts. So we have three parts in the female accessory ducts. Number one is the oviduct of fallopian tube, number two is the uterus, and number three is the vagina. Okay, where the fallopian tube happens to be a tube of 10 to 12 centimeter in length. Fine? Sorted? All the centers? Can we move ahead? Tell me. Yes, Shillong. Okay, fine. So now let us talk about the first among the accessory ducts, that is the fallopian tube. We have drawn the diagram. We now know that the fallopian tube, they are actually divided into three different parts. The first part is called as the infundibulum. Isn't it? The first part is called as the infundibulum. What is infundibulum? It has edges. Edges means the ends with fingers. Name the fingers, yes. Tell me the name of the fingers. Yes? It's not actually fingers, but it is finger-like projections. Name the finger-like projections. Very good. Called as fimbriae. Very nice. Keep it up. Called as fimbriae. So what is fimbriae? Fimbriae is an extension of the, it's not Itanagar, it's not villi. The finger-like projection, if it would have been in the stomach, in the intestine, it would have been called as villi. But the finger-like projection in the female reproductive system, that is a part of the infundibulum, is called as fimbriae. Okay? Learn it. It is fimbriae. So, what happens is, what is the function of fimbriae? The basic function, I have taught you that it collects ovum after ovulation. Ovulation means release of the ovum. From where? Obviously from the ovary. Okay, so this was the first part. The next part is ampulla. Okay, ampulla is a wide part. I have written in diagram also. This is the widest part. And number 3, what we have is, number 3 part is isthmus. So I have these basic structures. The isthmus happens to be the last part and has a narrow space in between. So as it moves upwards along the ampulla, the space or the lumen actually starts to grow narrow and narrow. Okay, so this is what is called as isthmus. So this isthmus actually leads to uterus or womb. Okay, there are many names for the same structure. It's also called as hysteria. Uterus, womb, hysteria, anything. Fine? Are we clear up to this? Now, coming to the next part, that is the uterus. It has a shape of inverted pear. Just see over here, see? It's a shape of inverted pear, isn't it? When you look at this diagram, it has a typical shape of inverted pear, the uterus part. Okay? So it has a shape of inverted pear. Now apart from that, have you copied this? Are the things clear? We have explained these things in the diagram and then I am just giving you notes so that you have a complete answer for the question if asked in the board exams. Okay? So are we clear up to this? Hysteria is another name for womb. Okay, it's also called as hysteria. I'm putting a slash over here. It's uterus, womb or hysteria, one and same thing. Okay? Fine? Moving ahead. So, this uterus has a shape of inverted pear. Now, this uterus has 3 layers, isn't it? This has 3 layers of tissues. Name the layers. Yes. The outer is perimetrium. Okay. The outermost is perimetrium. In between is what? It is myometrium. And number 3, the innermost, is endometrium. Let us see functions of each of them. Now, this is like perimetrium is not of much significance. This is thin membranous tissue. That's all about it. What is perimetrium? It is thin membranous tissue. Now, myometrium, much of concern. This is middle. This is thick. This is made up of smooth muscles. Now, this is a particular layer which actually undergoes contractions during birth. Okay, this is undergoing contractions during birth of a child, birth of a fetus. Now, endometrium, this is the particular part which is actually very much rich in glands. See, I am mentioning inner glandular, and this is the particular part which actually undergoes cyclic changes during menstrual cycle. Okay, so these are the specific things about each and every part. Okay, All the centers? Are we clear about 3 layers of tissue? These questions, they do come in exams. Okay, it's very, very common question. The typical questions being asked in exams repeatedly, not once or twice, but repeatedly. Fine? Am I clear up till now? Okay, I'm moving ahead. Let us move ahead with the structure of the uterus. So, uterus opens into vagina, but through cervix, isn't it? So, the cavity of cervix is called as, this is symbol for called as, C/A is actually called as cervical canal. Okay? So, I will be writing one more thing. If you add up cervical canal plus vagina, what we will be having is a structure called as birth canal. Okay? So, what are you doing? We are adding two different structures, that is cervical canal and vagina, and what we are having is a compiled up structure called as birth canal. These kind of questions, they also come in NEET. Okay? Yes, Itanagar, are you talking about this? Yes, Itanagar? Do you want to copy this? Okay. So, up till now, what we are studying is, we are just moving around with the typical accessory ducts. Okay, do copy this, please. So, we are typically moving along with the structures, that is, we are done with the ovary part, we are done with the oviducts, we are done with the uterus part, and then we had cervix, vagina, and what rest is left is female external genitalia. Now, we'll be starting with female external genitalia after this. Please copy this. Let me know if you have any doubt, anywhere you are stuck up, just let me know. Okay? Just let me know. These things are not that difficult, that's why I'm moving. But please let me know if you are getting stuck anywhere. Okay, done? Itanagar, did you copy? Okay, fine. Please copy this. So what I was talking about uterus opens into vagina through cervix. Okay? And cervix, the cavity of cervix is given as a different name called as cervical canal, and when you add up cervical canal and vagina, what is the compiled structure called? The structure together is called as the birth canal. Fine? Very nice. Done up to this? All the centers? Are you getting things? Yes, please. Copy it. Okay. So now we'll be moving ahead with the female external genitalia. So the first part is mons pubis. Okay, this structure is now covered by skin and has some fatty tissue as well. Okay, the next structure beneath is labia majora, which again is a fleshy fold of fatty tissues. The next part is labia minora, This is present inside the labia majora. And after this is hymen. What is hymen? It is opening of vagina, which is actually covered by a membrane called as hymen. Okay? Fine. And finally, there's again one more structure called as clitoris. What is this? This is a finger-like structure. Okay? Where at upper junction of labia minora. So wherever the two labia minora are actually having a point of contact, at that particular part there is this structure. So actually clitoris is present just above the urethral opening. The particular structure which is present above the urethral opening. Okay? So this is a typical structure. These are the particular components of the female external genitalia. Let us see once again. The first part is the mons pubis. What is it? It is covered by skin and hair also. This fatty tissue. Inside it there is second part which is called as labia majora, which is again a fleshy fold of actually two fatty tissues. Then just beneath the labia majora there is another structure called as labia minora. And what is clitoris? Clitoris is a particular structure which is found at the junction of the labia minora, or we can say present above the urethral opening. Now the particular structure that we just now studied with the accessory ducts, the vagina is actually covered by a structure called as hymen, which is a membrane-like structure present just on the opening of the vagina. Am I clear about all these structures? These are the parts of the external genitalia. Female external genitalia consists of these parts. See, I have named them 1, 2, 3. Always try to number the things you are studying. That will prevent the answer key to have any kind of escape. Okay, all your answers in your boards are actually marked according to an answer key. So teacher actually who is checking your copies, they look in for those key points in your answer. So if you are missing out any key points, they will be step marking. So you will be missing out marks also. So try to learn by using numbering. Always try to number things. Like female external genitalia has 5 parts. What are they? They are these. Okay? Okay. So is it okay up till now? Shall I move ahead? Okay. So we have done with all the parts that I started, isn't it? We have done with ovaries, oviducts, uterus, cervix, vagina, external genitalia. The only thing left is the paired mammary glands. So let us now have a clear-cut idea of the mammary glands. Okay? So the mammary glands, are they exocrine or endocrine? First answer me this question. Are they exocrine or endocrine? What are mammary glands? Yes? Tell me. Are they endocrine or exocrine? Yes, centers. Tell me. Are they exocrine or endocrine? Yes. Very simple question. These glands are exocrine or endocrine in structure. No, it is not endocrine, it is exocrine. 101% the mammary glands are what? They are exocrine glands, because just now we are going to study about all the ducts of these particular glands. So they are actually exocrine in function. See, endocrine glands are those glands which don't have ducts. Okay, and exocrine glands are those which have ducts. So the paired structures or the mammary glands, they have two compositions. What? Number one, glandular tissue. Number two, fat. Two particular components of the mammary glands are, number one, glandular tissue. Number two, fat. Now the glandular tissue is actually divided into, I'm talking about this thing only now, is divided into what? 15 to 20 mammary lobes. Okay, and they have what? They have the most important structure. Okay, they have cluster. Cluster means group of cells called as alveoli. Now I am talking about alveoli to be the most important structure, as in this alveoli is a structure which is going to secrete milk. Okay, remember we have studied alveoli in lungs also. Please don't confuse. So these alveoli, they secrete milk. So they are opening into, or better I say the alveoli directly open into next structures called mammary tubules. The alveoli open into mammary tubules. Now there is a system of duct which is going on getting more and more complicated, isn't it? With every step the things are going to get more and more complicated. So the alveoli open into mammary tubules. Now the mammary tubules, they open into another structure. See, the mammary tubules open into mammary ducts. So the things are getting more and more channelized. They are going to open into mammary ducts. Now the mammary ducts, they actually join, the many mammary ducts, they join together. This is mammary ducts join together to form lactiferous ducts. And through this lactiferous duct, milk is sucked out. So this is the typical structure, this is the typical flow chart that we need to have in mind when we are discussing mammary glands. Once more, let's look into this. So mammary glands are paired structures. They are very much exocrine in function. It has two components. Number one, glandular tissue. Number two, fat. We are dividing the glandular tissue into two things. What are they? That is, first, it has many lobules, isn't it? It has many mammary lobes, and each lobes have cluster of cells called as what? They are called as alveoli. So what are alveoli? They are the cluster of the cells which are going to secrete milk. Now these particular alveoli, they are opening into mammary tubules. These mammary tubules, they again open into mammary ducts. The mammary ducts join together to form the lactiferous ducts, and this is the particular duct through which milk can be sucked out. This is the pathway of the mammary glands. Draw this please. All the centers. Yes. All the centers. Shillong, Itanagar, St. Paul's, Naharlagun, Aizawl, Senapati. Am I clear up to this? Tell me. Am I clear up to this? All the centers. Okay. Fine. Did you copy this? This page, have you copied this slide? Did you copy this slide? All the centers? Did you copy this? So answer me one question. So are humans unisexual or bisexual? Are humans unisexual or bisexual? Are humans unisexual or bisexual? Tell me, it must be clear by now to each and every center. What is it? Isn't it? Answer it. I want two answers. Answer me, are humans unisexual or bisexual? Yes, Senapati. Itanagar. St. Paul's. St. Paul's? You do not type anything throughout the class. So I hope you have copied this. So can we have some questions? Can we? Let us see if we can have some questions. Done this. Let me see if we have any questions from this particular part. Top to this also. Okay, answer this question. It's an easy one. All the centers, answer this question, please. Be very careful about the answer. This is a very easy question. Isn't it? Shillong, just look into your answer once. You want to rectify it. Okay? See. All done with your answers? Senapati, where is your answer? Senapati, where is your answer? See, what happens is, the human female, isn't it? Human female, what we mark is this. This is a human female. Human female has XX chromosomes, isn't it? They have two X chromosomes. Now, when during the process of meiosis, what we have is that there is segregation of these two chromosomes. Why? Because meiosis makes the content of the chromosome exactly half. It's a haploid division. It turns out to form haploid cells. So if I am having this kind of composition, the gametes formed by me would be having only one X chromosome. Isn't it? I won't be having Y chromosome. I won't be having 2X chromosome. Why 2X chromosome? Because the ovum is actually, this egg is also called as ovum. It already has the process of meiosis. Isn't it? So after the process of meiosis, I will always have only either of the sex chromosomes. So in case of females, since both of them are X, so both will not be coming into the gametes, but gametes will be formed as X and X. And what about males? If it is XY, what about them? They will be having two different gametes, one as X and one as Y. Isn't it? So if it is male, they would be having one gamete as X and one gamete as Y. So the basic character that who is going to decide the sex of the offspring is basically dependent on the male, isn't it? Because females, they always produce X. So the variation actually arises from the Y part. So if it is X from this part and X from this part, for example, suppose these things, this is X and X, the female or the particular child, sex of the child would be a female. This would be a female child. And if it happens to be X and Y, this would be obviously a male child. This is clear, isn't it? So your option should be, what should be your option? It should be X. So, do we have any doubts from this particular session? Do you want to copy this? You must be aware about all this. This is basic biology, isn't it? So, do you want to have any doubts? Do you need to discuss any doubts? No doubts, ma'am. You're busy packing your bags, it seems so. Isn't it? Okay, fine. I hope so it was clear. Just go back home. Okay, fine. Just go back home. Nice answers from your side. Just go back home and try to revise the part from your NCERT book. Isn't it? That is a typical syllabus for your boards. Okay? Don't be in a hurry to pack your bags. Just listen to me what I am trying to tell. And then go through these notes. Whatever we are discussing at Avanti. Just go through these notes. First and foremost thing, read your books. Go through these notes. The things would be sorted. And what I would be suggesting you is that try and practice diagrams from today itself. Okay? Okay. Good night. Have a nice time. Thank you.